Hey folks, Seannosis is back in the building. And today I'm just going to do a little inspection on Gold Rush, aka Co-op 38. So this is a very exciting times in my apple orchard. Gold Rush is one of those apples that has been recommended by a lot of home gardeners. According to the literature, it's very sweet and tart with a pineapple taste. As mentioned before in previous videos, this tree is approximately 2 years from graft. So this was grafted in January the 1st, 2023. One thing I like about the Gold Rush apple tree, it's one of those apple trees that is very easy to grow. It gives a lot of lateral branches that are easy to train. And it's very vigorous, especially on seedling rootstock. But you know, because we're in the warm climate, we typically get a dwarfing effect. So far, this apple tree has over 6 apples. So we have 3 right here, the bunch. Single and in one here. One on the lower limb. And one way up here. Alright, so far so good. I'm not seeing any pest damages, any disease. You know, typically the leaves typically get this scab, but it's just cosmetic. Finally, we're starting to see the fruits of our labor, as the saying goes. There were a few issues with this tree earlier in the year. I noticed that spot there we had to remove some of the dead bark, either from some fungal infection or probably sun scald. So as you can see on the other branch, right here, I had to scrape off some of the dead wood. That's why it's kind of important to actually whitewash the tree. But sometimes in our tropical climate here in Jamaica, the sun gets really hot. Time sure flies when you're having fun. It feels like it was just yesterday when I planted this apple tree. And look how fast it has grown. Overall, I think I have 5 Gold Rush trees growing in this orchard. Besides this one, there's another one right here also starting to bear its first set of fruits. This one again, it's on standard rootstock, seedling rootstock. Also very vigorous. And just like its clone, same branch structure, very lateral, although I had to train them compared to other apple trees. When I try to train them lateral, they tend to want to grow apart. But gold rush tends to be more cooperative. It's well behaved compared to say for instance, this golden russet. It's very difficult to train. It wants to grow lanky and tall. But yes, we finally make it to this level here. Finally make it to this level here. We can finally see some fruits of our labor. And here's the next fruit right there. We're in hot July where it's very windy and humid, very dry. And surprisingly, this tree here is starting to blossom again. Right there. I think gold rush tend to blossom every 3 months. Every 3 months I'll see a blossom here and there. But a couple of months ago, blossoms were right here. Tried cross-pollinating them, but they never take. Right here, right there. I think one was right there. The only one that took was this lonely one right here. So that's the second gold rush tree. Third one is right around here. Again, you can see that gold rush has a very typical structure. It likes to branch out, especially when you notch it. Hopefully by next year it will start to produce like its clones. Gold rush is an offspring of golden delicious. This is a golden delicious on a Geneva 4-1. Going very slender. I think this is the ideal height for golden delicious. Now we just want it to branch out now. You make it grow like this lanky, you get a lot of height out of it without pruning it. And then you begin to notch it. Because each time you cut back the tree, you tend to reduce the growth and it kind of delay the development of the branches. Only when it reaches the required height, I recommend that you prune the top, as in the case right here. So you let it grow like this, and then you notch it, and this would be the results from the notching. Branches start to develop where you notch. When you just cut it, branches just rapidly just spring out from different buds. But when you select your own buds by notching, you get what you want. You have control over your branches, so you want a branch right here, or you want branches down here, or on the different sides. Also another gold rush on Geneva 4-1, dwarfing rootstock. Nice cleft graft. Hopefully by the end of the month or in August, I'll be transplanting it right here in this spot. I'll be transplanting it right here in this spot where at least 10 apple trees can be planted. We're gonna do a diagonal cardinal setup. So I have this post here. Another post right here. Before we do that, this ackee tree above is gonna get cut. We have another gold rush apple tree right around here, so also. Definitely this one right here. It's coming along very good. I had to prune it back. To kind of force it to grow because sometimes they will become stunted, and this is where I actually recommend pruning. That's the only time I'll cut back an apple tree to get rapid growth. Not necessarily for branches. It's a very bright evening at 4:30, going to 5 o'clock. It's summer. But as you can see, folks, the apple orchard is coming on very fine. The only thing is that I wish that some rain would fall, and that is where we would see some rapid growth. Around 80% of the trees are above 8 feet. So yes, folks, so that is actually Gold Rush. A little review. Just getting on myself prepared to do the taste test. Can't wait. If you go on YouTube and search for Gold Rush apple, you'll see a lot of reviews on it. You can actually do your research too on Google to find out a little bit more about this apple. Developed by the PRI, Purdue, Rutgers, and Illinois University Apple Breeding Program back in the 70s. So offspring of Golden Delicious and a crab apple, or multiple crab apples. Very beautiful. Right now I just want these ones to just size up a little bit more. At least like the Royal Galas that we get in the supermarket here in Jamaica, at least that size. But you know, the first crops tend to be small based on my observation. In the future, I'll be doing some more experiments with different type of fertilizers such as calcium and also magnesium to kind of see if it assists with sizing up the fruits. But here you have it, folks. A lot of persons have been asking when will the apple tree start to bear, and here it is. Although we have seen William's Pride, this is one of my favorite apple trees. This is one that I've been uploading, especially on my charts. And surprisingly, it was the one that actually blossomed first before even the William's Pride. Early in January, but when I tried to cross-pollinate it, it didn't take. However, William's Pride was the one that took pollination and bore the first set of fruits that I ever ate from this orchard, but gave this back a second try and we actually cross-pollinated with another William's Pride. Yeah, so far this tree is looking healthy. It started to put in on more growth. A lot of young shoots coming on down at the bottom. There are a lot of fruit buds down here too. It's gonna be easy to pick apples off here. Very easy, based on the branch formation. A very nice apple tree. So I overall recommend, if I don't taste the apple as yet, for its ease of growth and maintenance, Gold rush is one of those apple trees. So the only thing left for me so far to make a full recommendation and say yes is to actually taste the fruit. But so far so good. It's actually a very easy tree to grow. My aim is to actually graft at least 1,000 of them. And then hopefully in the future, I would release them to the public in Jamaica so other persons can experiment with them. But you must bear in mind that it requires a pollinator. It can't grow by itself. It needs another apple variety to grow. So bear that in mind. And apple trees overall tend to need a cross-pollinator. With a cross-pollinator, you get more fruits. Fruits become even more bigger. Those that are self-pollinating, the fruits tend to be elongated. For example, with the Wamboga apple, although it's a very popular apple, I think when you cross-pollinate it, the apples tend to get round, of a more oval shape versus having a more elongated shape. Speaking of Wamboga apple, there's one right around here that I'm looking at right now. No, there's that small one right here, but there's a more mature one, more larger. These two right here. But we're gonna save these two for another video. But just giving a full preview of them. These were cross-pollinated. But we're gonna save those for another video. All right, folks, I'm gonna leave it right now. If you made it this far in the video, just like, share, and subscribe, Help us spread the word and help us grow the channel. We're doing something very unique in Jamaica from scratch. The other persons in Jamaica probably growing American apples, but they're not actually propagating it from scratch, grafting, growing your own rootstock, experimenting like what you see on this channel. So support it and share it. I'm out.